V8 Supercars are, as they sound, a supercar with a V8 in them. And they are the main and most popular, I would say, Australian motorsport series. And what makes them so special, just except the V8, is that the cars are very interesting, have a very interesting handling because of a lot of different reasons, which I will bring up later during my driving. But are they good, is my question. And how am I going to answer this, you may ask? Well, I have taken a V8 Supercar mod, which is in the description below, in Automobilista 2, around Bathurst, to see if it handles well. So, let me get into a replay of a race I did with the V8 Supercar to answer this question. Okay, so now we will be following me around my drive around Bathurst. And what I'm just saying is that my driving skill will be shown and will show how hard these cars are driving. And as you can see, I'm driving a Volvo. But before I talk more about the before I talk about the handling, let me talk about the mod. Well, it is a V8 Supercar mod, as I said, from a specific year, I don't remember, which includes the V8 Supercars from Ford, Holden, Volvo, Mercedes, and Nissan or Honda. I don't remember which one of them. But it's from a specific year and it includes liveries, as you can see here. The only thing, and it also includes custom physics and custom... I believe it has custom physics, but it has custom sounds at least. And if you want to try out this mod, it's currently work in progress and it's available in the link down below, which takes you to a Discord where you can talk with Scar, who's also making a 1989 Group C car mod. And that I think is about it about the mod, and let me just talk to you about how V8 Supercars handle. And if you want more info on how they handle, just watch the Driver 61 video linked down below, which is Scott Mansell talking about how they handle. So, what makes them special? Well, as you can see here, I accidentally shifted into first gear, and what I learned during this video is that the first gear isn't so good when driving. What I mean by that is it instantly locks the tires. So if you wanna have a good time, just don't use first gear, use second gear. And another thing which is also quite unique about these cars is that they use what's called a welded differential, and that's in the rear. So an open differential, you might ask, what is that? Well, we'll take an example of, let's say this car is trying to turn right through a long right-hander, and in the inner wheel wants to turn at a slower rate than the outside wheel because it has a it has a shorter radius that it needs to turn. So if you want to turn through that corner, the inner wheel wants to turn at a slower speed than the outer wheel. So if it has an open differential, both tires are allowed to spin at whatever rate they want. But that brings in the issue of if one tire moves more than it has less grip than the other, then that will get most of the power because it's the least resistance. But then a welded differential, you might also lock differential, is that the differential is completely locked, as you can hear in the name. And that means that both tires get to spin the same amount, even if they are driving around corners like that one. So the rear loves to step out, but especially with this car with the V1.4 physics in AMS2. So what makes this car special, except that, is also how they shift. They use a sequential shifter, And they don't use paddles like in an F1 car or GT3 cars. They use a stick. So it's like a manual car, but instead of you having to go H pattern, it just goes forwards and backwards. So when shifting up, they obviously shift upwards without having to engage the clutch. But then when shifting downwards, instead of doing what is usually used when driving stick shift, is that instead of that they do heel and toe, which is only used in manuals. So that's quite interesting. And then if we talk about the handling of this car, which you can see here, as you can see, I having some issues locking up the brakes. And it doesn't have a auto clutch anti-stall, it doesn't have. So you can see I have quite a lot of issues getting on the power and braking. So that might change with the V1 update of this car, but it also might change with the V1.5 physics with AMS2. And if you don't know what the V1.5 physics update will change, is that the current tire model is a bit confused because it doesn't output what Razer input. It does some weird things, which means that you can slide a lot without getting any real consequences. And if you want to get more details on that, you can go and watch my last video where I drive the Formula Ultimate Gen 2 and the Formula USA 2023, which currently had the physics as of recording that video, but now most F1 cars have it, and all Formula USA cars have it. I think the only Formula car, I don't really know which. The only Formula cars which don't have it, I think, are the Formula V10s. I think the Formula V12 doesn't have it. The Formula Racer and the Formula Ultimate Gen 1. But all cars will be getting the V1.5 physics update start at an estimated release date of early July, which has roughly been said by Renato, but since it's Renato we are talking about, you shouldn't take his word for it, due to Razer having a lot of delays with every update. You can say Renato is a bit too optimistic, but if you just know that what he says isn't what usually happens, then you won't get unhappy. But you can see I'm really trying to push the car, hitting a few walls. But my main issue is the tires and the slidiness of it. And I don't know when watching from V8 Supercars online, it doesn't seem like these tires are as slippery as they seem, or the cars I should say. They feel more planted, but obviously I'm driving the default setup without changes because I am currently learning setups. So if you want me to make a video on that, please write it down in the comments. So whilst you're down there, you can also hit the like button and also subscribe. So I think the next lap, I think it's one of my better laps, the next lap. So let me be quiet for that whole lap if I don't spin, so you can hear how this car sounds. Okay, so I spun But that was probably on power. So the main issue with this car, I would say, is riding on power. And as you can obviously see, I don't have damage on, because I'm not used to most cars which I drive in this sim, or I mostly drive the Formula Ultimate Gen 2 due to me learning setups, as I said before. So that's why I don't use damage. But this car, in my opinion, looks really good too, because he has deliveries of, as I stated before, certain cars. You might hear that I'm not talking as much now because I don't have as much to say. But even though I have that, I feel like maybe some of you want to see me and hear the car I'm driving. But what my recommendations are with this car is, if we don't think about the setups, is with handling that the rear loves to step out. So maybe you can try and fix that, but it's at all speeds. And when you think about it, yeah, as I said before, it's the rear really wants to step out, and that's the main thing. But otherwise, if you don't think about that, is that the car loves to just drive. And what I mean by that is, you can really fight it. It's a driver's car because you get to feel everything, and it's really nice in my opinion, because you really know what the car is doing. Here you might see a little bit of a slide. No, not much, but you can sometimes you see me using a lot of slip angle and the car not punishing me for it. And obviously my lines could get better the more I drive. Yeah, like there I'm not using as much of the wall. But in my opinion is that since the car, I'm not having a lot of confidence in it, which means I'm more focusing on trying to handle the car than actually driving, following the lines. So that's another thing, a pro tip for you. Learn the car, and after you've learned the car, you can obviously improve the lines. So if you want to improve, start with the racing line and learn everything. On the new circuit, drive a slower car, like everybody says. Then you know roughly where the circuit goes. Then learn the car around the circuit, and then you can try and push the lines and see where you can actually go. Well, I love this shot of the car just going neom. It's really nice, this car, and I really love the mod. And you can hear a lot of tire squeaking, because I tried to be very nice on the brake, but it might have maybe a bit too much brake pressure, because it seems like I'm just locking up everywhere around this circuit, which can be an issue. So if Scar is watching this video, he can understand my main problems with it. And another thing which you might have noticed is that when I'm going slowly, you can see the tire tread actually goes the opposite, or the tire takes the sidewall. The tire walls, that the text on them goes the opposite direction of me where I'm actually trying to go. So if I spin out or something, you will be able to see it. I will point it out the next time I spin, which I believe is maybe not this lap, because I had cars behind me. If I remember correctly, it will be next lap. There I had a good line through that corner. But you can see I'm not pushing the circuit as much. Sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So I believe me spinning will be soon. And there you can see I'm really having issues with the rear. That is just the car specific thing as described before. So the spin should be here, me accidentally going into first, or me going accidentally a bit too wide. So I try to start it, and then I accidentally spin again, hit the wall, then waiting for cars to arrive. I think I accidentally stalled it there, or I maybe waited, so maybe next car or something? After this pack, yes. And you will be seeing me do some overtakes for the first time this video nearly. So you will see me chasing group of cars coming up. I will be in this video really pushing here to try and get these overtakes done. Oh, you just missed me. Oh, going around the inside of all those cars. Then I think I catch up to the pack up ahead. But I'm not sure if... Do I really? So here you will be seeing I overtake a car there, then you see the two cars up ahead, the two Volvos. I'm going straight for them at a much higher speed, and I will be overtaking on the grass, doing a Alexander Albon. Don't know if that's fully legal, but I did it at least. And I think this is the last lap of the race. So let's see if it is. Yeah, that car they were going in because they were done, and I am going across the line, and there I shall be done. So what do we think about it? Well, it's a nice car which has handles quite well, or I should say doesn't have a lot of traction. But what did you think of this video? Comment it down below, and once you're down there, please hit the like button and also subscribe. My next video will be on some old F1 cars and seeing how they drive. But until then, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my amazing viewers, thank you for watching, good.